So welcome everybody to my life, my business, Wish I Was Here, and today we're going to talk about setting these goals. The first thing I just wanted to make sure that we understood the difference between a goal and a strategy. Sometimes we set strategies as a goal, right? Meaning, I want to lose weight, right? And you could even say, well, that is in your mind. I want to lose some weight. You could say, I want to lose 10 kilograms. But the goal that you set is, I want to go to the gym at least 4 times a day. And that generally would be, that's a strategy that you're employing towards losing the weight. And it's so in the thinking is, what is the goal and what is the strategy? And both have a place. So it's not either or, we just want to be clear when you said that. So let me just give you a short little introduction and we will then have this conversation. So in what I'm going to be sharing with you is 3 types of goals normally. And these are labeled in this way. We start off with an end goal. What is the end that I have in mind? And the way we think about that is what is my final destination? Right? What is my final destination actually? Then a subcategory is called a performance goal. Right? What do I have to achieve in order for me to reach my final destination? And you think through those, and the category that you set is then called a performance goal. Then within these performance goals would then come the strategies that we employ, but we assign outcomes for each of the strategies, the journey along the way, and we call these process goals. And I'm going to give you 1 or 2 examples, and then talk a little bit about the goals that you've set for yourself. And I'm going to ask my panel members and anyone in the audience at the moment, and Paul, please just do the inviting in the background, and I just want to see you pop up on stage. You don't have to speak. You don't be afraid. I'm going to call you out. I won't. You will only speak if you want to. So, in what is an example of these things I've spoken about? Remember, to recap, end goals, performance goals, and process goals. So think about it like this. Now, in our case, we obviously based in Gauteng. So let's if I talk about final destination, it's to say, you know what? My end goal is to be in Cape Town, right? My end goal is to be in Cape Town. I want to arrive in Cape Town. I want to experience the splendor of the mountain and the splendor of the wonderful beaches that you have there. And also the culture. There's nothing like the Cape culture. However, what would be my performance goals? My performance goals will be is what progress am I making towards arriving in Cape Town? And that could be places that I set. I want to be in Bloemfontein at a certain time. I want to be in Colesberg at a certain time. I want to be in Beaufort West in a certain time and at a certain time. I also, therefore, I know I can go on and on, Laingsburg, Worcester, and so forth. Those are indicators that I'm making progress towards my end destination. So then you might ask me, so Jacques, but what's the process goals here? Well, the process goals could be if I elected to fly, right? So this would mean I need to buy my ticket, but in order for me to buy my ticket, I have to secure my funds. So you secure the funds, I buy my ticket, and secondly, depending on what it is I want to do in Cape Town, is it a holiday? If it is a holiday, I maybe need to buy some holiday outfits, so I need to go and do shopping, right? I want swimming trunks, and they got to be like a combination of nice blue and orange, and I'm going to buy that. So when I start setting those things down, and as I perform them, I'm meeting process goals towards the performance goals towards the end goal. Now, that is, is very easy from a social point of view. But now, if you consider, and the analogy is not everybody associates with sport, but I'm going to try. I mean, hopefully everybody knows and remembers Usain Bolt. I mean, what a phenomenon. Holds records in the 100-meter sprint, 200-meter sprint, the relay, the 4x100-meter relays have got gold medals, 9 gold medals across 3 Olympics over 12 years. He just dominated everything. So people think nobody in this lifetime is going to match that. Whatever the case might be, let us say, using athletics as an analogy, and saying to myself as Jacques, bit of a joke, at 55, I want to win a gold medal in the 100-meter sprint. So my end goal is a gold medal at the Olympics, right? That's what I want to achieve. Now, if Usain Bolt was still running, the first thing I will have to do is understand that if he was still running, in order for me to get my gold medal, I have to beat somebody like Usain Bolt. And Usain Bolt's best time is 9.58 seconds. So in my mind, my performance goal is going to be 9.58 seconds. Do you follow? My end goal is a gold medal. My performance goal is I must be able to run the 100-meter sprint in 9.58 seconds. So in order for me to get to my process goals, I got to break some things down. I got to break my performance goals down. I got to say, all right, I've got 4 years until the next Olympics, or 3, but let's just use 4 years. So for every year, I must improve from the best that I've ever run. And let's assume I've run like 9.8 seconds. That was my fastest time. But in the next 4 years, to take it down to 9.58 seconds, I must improve with another whopping, now this doesn't sound like a lot, but a whopping 0.22 seconds. So every year, I must improve on my time by 0.055 seconds. And then even furthermore, I got to improve every month over the 4 years by 0.00458 seconds. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to do, so this is the how, the strategies that I'm going to implement. I'm going to do speed training, I'm going to do strength training, and I'm going to do gym training. Now, I'm not speaking from a point of view that I actually know these things. It's just so that we understand. So basically, this is where the process goals kick in. In order for me to do speed training, the process goal is I must do it for 3 hours twice a day. So every day the check-in is, have I done my speed training for 6 hours today? That's a yes or no, right? Have I done my strength training? And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but imagine this is that for the first month that I'm starting, I must run with a tractor tire attached to myself over a period of 100 meters, and I must try to complete it in 9.795 seconds. I'm aiming at 9.795 seconds. So if you now follow, just to recap, I want to win a gold medal. I know I gotta match or beat the the Olympic record and the world record, 9.58 seconds. But in the first month, what am I aiming at? 9.795 seconds with a tractor tire attached to my back. That is a process goal. All right. So you can understand now when if there's gym training required, is how many repetitions I got to do at each station, and so forth. So I will then measure my process goals. Am I doing this religiously every single day as I've broken it down? So you start with your end goal in mind, you identify your performance goal and your process goals. If you do that every day, you know you're making progress towards that gold medal. So basically, that in essence is the goal setting process, right? It's very broad. I mean, I could really speak for another 2 days on this, but let's open the floor. I want to ask, and the reason I can just nominate Mpho, I've asked her just to prepare a goal that she has, and let's see where this goal fits within the framework I've just provided. So Mpho, um, let's see. Have you prepared the goal that you want to achieve?
I do have a goal here. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see if I'm actually identifying the correct goals for the categories that we're talking about today.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so my end goal is to launch my self-care online store. And then do I talk about the process goals first or the performance goals?
Well, let's just talk about what you're saying is your end goal. So here's how
Uh-huh.
we examine this. We now need to determine whether what Mpho is doing is a strategy, right? Um, and using this now, you will think, well, she wants to have the business. Is the purpose, the reason why she wants that business would determine whether that's an end goal in itself or whether it's a strategy to achieve something deeper, something that she hasn't articulated yet. And for example, it could be a couple of things. It could be one, Mpho, and I'm just going to make up the scenario. Mpho has said she wants to run a business and she might even have a date in mind, etc. But she could be setting this as a goal because um, she cannot find a career anywhere that would satisfy a need that she has, and she feels, well, I'm gonna start a business. Now, the business in itself, well articulated, is now meeting a deeper underlying need, if you understand what I mean. So then you articulate as an end goal that deeper underlying need in that way. So just to assess. But however, let's for argument's sake say, um, and Mpho is the best one to tell us, so I'm going to let Mpho tell us now. The other one could be is that I am so fiercely independent that I want to run my own business. So the end goal is my independence or my personal freedom, and the strategy to achieve that is to run my own business. So my own business is just, it's great. Is it could be a performance goal, that business in itself, right? I set up my business, I'm well on my way to achieving my independence. So the final destination, in the way I articulate it, is my independence or my personal freedom. Right. So it's just to understand it. Then obviously the process goals would break it down. So in Paul, with that clarification, is this your final? Is this your end goal?
Goal is Yeah, it is my end goal.
You see that as the ultimate.
Mm, I mean, yeah, I was also thinking now once you've mentioned the final destination, that if personal freedom is the final destination, because I feel like by starting the business, I'm sharing what I know about this topic that I really love, connecting with people as well. Um, but it's giving me the space or the creative space to share what I know. So
Hmm.
that's the end goal, not necessarily the business, because I could use another channel. But I think this would be the best way to explore it for now.
Okay. So now that we've located it, so if you're okay with it, it's a performance goal, right?
Mm.
It's going to allow you to reach your end goal. So just tell us your and now we're going to call it your performance goal again. All right, let's
Okay.
just remind us what that is again. Okay.
Okay. So the performance goal is to launch my self care online store.
Okay. And so let's make it smart, and we'll start with the T part, right? The time
Okay.
frame in which you want to launch this business.
By the 21st of September, because that's my birthday.
This year, next year,
This year. This year.
this year.
This is very specific. I hope I'm not the only one taking notes.
But that is the key to the goal being smart. So you can see,
Yeah.
even if you now consider the time frame, it is, you launch the business has to grow and all of that, but it needs to satisfy that end goal that Mpo and I are now talking about. So in terms of your process goals, then what do you think those will be, Mpo?
I was thinking those would be growing a database or like client database. So
Uh
how
huh.
would you do that is having a newsletter that people can sign up to before I actually launch the business.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and so then I would create the landing page. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
locate what I would use, what platform I would use that would work for me, and then create the landing page, get the link for the landing page, and then post it on my social media platforms.
All right, so attached to these will be time frames. So
Okay.
even though as a process goal, it is the outcome. You said so those things that you're talking about now is going to grow your database, right?
Mm,
So the process goal there is the database. How many
mm.
people do you think you're going to need um, in your database?
Okay. Well, the number I put on here was 10.
You want 10 people in your database.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
well,
so
now I'm rethinking it because I specified a time. So I
uh
think
huh.
I'll have, yeah, I'll go for 50 people on my database, which
Right.
is,
So
this is cool. Yeah. Mhm.
it's cool, but the way you then define that process goal is basically um, achieve a database of 50
Okay.
people. That will be your process goal.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Paul, for sharing that. I mean, at any time you can come back in just so that we have a conversation. Is Kevin accepted the invitation to join us? Kevin, do you have an example that we can kind of just chat through, or do you have like a general question around just what I've shared?
Hi, Jacques, and
How's
everybody.
it,
Good
Kevin?
afternoon. Yo, Jacques, you're putting me
Welcome.
on the spot, yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm sitting here and thinking, this is such a practical a session that you are doing here. So practical, because it kind of just puts things into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to my goal of reaching out to a number of business leaders, and I set my target at 100, in our community,
Yes.
for the year. And so yeah, I've got a long way to. So that is my goal. It's a spiritual goal. It's to work or to connect with business leaders, but also to share the gospel with them, and also to kind of just be like a just walk alongside them and assist them, or just to help them in their business. But the main goal is to share the gospel with them. So that is my goal. Um,
Okay,
so then,
but Kevin, may I ask you something? Sorry for
yes,
interjecting, but this, as
okay,
you
no
said, this
problem.
is practical. So before you carry on, is that you said the main goal is to share the gospel with him. Now, what that sounds like still to me, right? And I'm careful to say it sounds like. It may not be.
Yeah, yeah.
It still sounds like a strategy. To what end? I mean, what do you want to achieve when you do share the gospel with these business leaders? What is the real outcome that you're seeking here?
I think the real outcome is for me to get these business leaders involved in our church and in our
Yes.
community.
So
So
the
that would
next
be
question
the,
you
the
can Yes. So just if you just bear with me. So next question is, okay, so now they're going to get more involved. And what would that lead to if they are more involved?
Community development, influence, rebuilding our community. Just our church having a bigger impact in our community.
Okay. So if you just um, just work with me here. So that bigger impact in a community, describe that. What does that look like?
Okay, that would be assisting our community, in ways where people are able to get a qualification, NQF level 4 or 5 or 3 NQF level qualification
Mm-hmm.
through maybe skills development or business development. um, Spiritually, for people to to make uh, God a priority by going to church, by families, um, maybe making church attendance a priority. Um, yeah.
Okay. While you're still humoring me, and
Okay.
thank you for being courageous, is once you make that impact, once
Yeah.
again, where would that lead to?
I think ultimately, maybe just to help people in our community, our gang infested, full of violence and unemployment being at an all time high community, where people kind of begin to rise above the circumstances, to maybe just see themselves better than what this community would label them to be. Um,
Mm-hmm. Now, I think we're tapping into the real root of what it is you're trying to achieve. Is am I getting it sort of
yeah, yeah,
right or
yeah,
not?
yeah. No, you definitely are.
So it is in the definition of the end goal, Kevin.
Yeah,
If you start describing your end goal in that way and it really resonates with you, right? And
yeah.
you fully engage with it, all these other things that you want to achieve are, would you agree with me, performance goals.
Yes, correct.
And in actual fact, I would say I'd even slip them down into process goals, because
Yeah.
if you want the community to rise above where they are in terms of how they see themselves, what would be the performance goal that would tell you that you're making progress towards that?
My performance goal.
Not the performance goal in terms of the end goal of seeing the community rise up beyond where they are, right? So
Okay.
looking at them, how would you gauge that that is starting to happen? How would the community then behave?
Um, for me, it would be when young people would have more of a sense of purpose. That I'm not just uh, on school for whatever reason. I'm actually trying to get somewhere with my life. Um, I
Okay.
want to have a qualification, and once I'm done with my qualification, not necessarily so that I can get out of this community, but to kind of help to rebuild this community. Um, so what would I probably seeing more people um, getting a skill, getting a qualification, getting a better job, or maybe starting their own business, becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Um, People's
Okay.
circumstances changing physically and emotionally and financially.
Great. So now you make those goals smart. So how big is the community that you are serving? Just, you don't have to be too accurate. I mean, how many people are we talking about? Adults,
Uh,
youth, if you do you have an idea?
300 to 400,000.
300 to 400,000. Now you think
That's the
about
whole of
that.
Atlantis. Are you talking about just one area where our church is situated? I'm
Yes.
thinking. I'm thinking. Okay. Yeah, that would be probably about 100 to maybe 150,000 people.
Okay, but you are targeting Atlantis. So I'm happy with Atlantis. So
Yeah.
in terms
Okay.
of the point I'm trying to make is to say so many youth qualified, so many businesses started. Can you see how that would be performance goals?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it makes
So
sense.
many programs being offered. All right. So I have just relegated your goal of, what did you say? How many business leaders did you want to speak to, connect with?
100.
That's a process. Can you see why that is a process goal?
Yeah, yeah.
So if now, let me ask you, and I know we've just about run on. Let me ask you, just taking you through this, how does this feel? Does this re-engage you with that, even that process goal of getting going, so that you can meet your end goal, so that you can start to measure progress towards end goal by setting your performance goals? How does that
Yeah,
feel for you?
yeah, it does that. It kind of re-engages me, but it also, um, just in listening to myself and to you, asking me all these questions, I just kind of realized that I'm focusing on the wrong thing here. So I need to get the goal right, so that that process of reaching, then that will re-engage the way that I do that part of what I need to do. But I need to
Ah.
maybe go back to the drawing board and just redefine the goal, the actual goal. Yeah, I don't know if that is making sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's exact. I mean, listen. Thank you very much, Kevin. You've made our point.
Okay, because I'm sweating here. I'm like, okay, my goodness, what am I? I need to, and thank you, because I actually need to just go back to the drawing board now.
And just that realization, you've probably been wondering, why am I not getting on with things? Why am I not getting on with
Yes,
things? Because you're aiming
yes,
it at process level. Can you see?
yeah, yeah. I see it. I see it. I see it. Thank you.
Because it was so clear that when you started talking about the real impact, I don't know about anybody else, I could hear the shift in the energy as you
Yeah,
were talking. Yeah.
that makes a lot
So
of sense.
yeah, and thank you, Kevin. Thank you for being our guinea pig. And to everybody else out there, is just to say, I hope this has added value. Exactly that realization in terms of, well, what goals am I setting? Mpo realized that she was setting the bar a bit low in terms of just the size of a database when she started to put a time frame to things. And that is the process that you go through. So it's not just, I want to do this, and then you plow yourself into it. You invest the time to evaluate what it is you're aiming at. Because in the end, you want to enjoy the journey towards that end goal. And I trust you will be blessed. I thank you for joining us today. And there's something practical. And we will obviously see you next week.